Track and Field World Championships will be in Eugene, Oregon this year in 2022. And I think it is going to be, and well, has the potential to be one of the best track and field world championships that we've seen in quite some time. But there are some variables and some things that have to come in alignment for it to happen. And maybe I'll do a separate video and episode and touch on a bunch of different things. But for right now, I just want to touch on the mindset and the frame of a track and field athlete, right? I've been retired since 2017. And even though I'm retired from the sport, I still work with a bunch of these elite athletes in different fields. So while I may not physically be on the track, my eyes and ears are still low to the ground. And it's always interesting to me when I have certain conversations with people and they bring up the sport of track and field and they say, man, why is this person running so well this moment? And then the next moment, they're not running so fast. It's like, what's happening? Isn't it the same distance? Right? Literally, this was a conversation that I was having the other day. And I just sat and listened. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not as easy as you think. Like, it's not as easy as you are making it sound like it should be. Track and field is one of the hardest sports that I have ever done in my life. And I've been a dual sport athlete my whole life. It's the hardest sport I've ever done. And for the people who are not necessarily privy to track and field, right? We see it when the football side, like we saw it when DK Metcalf came and he ran the 100 meters at California. And we saw all of the people who did not know a thing about track and field. They came on board, right? And they were saying all of these different things. And they were talking about his weight. They were talking about his size. But if you know track and field, there are people who are DK size running fast. DK is predominantly a football player. He's put all his energy in that. I'm not saying that if he comes over to track and field and really dedicates the time that he can't run faster than what he did. But I'm just saying it's not as easy as people think. Right? Let's keep it narrow and let's focus on the 100 right now, right? In the history of the 100 meters in track and field, there's been 160 people who have broken 10 seconds to date. And I may be missing the mark a little bit. If it was that easy, then everybody should be breaking 10 seconds, right? When you think about all of the people who have ran track and field, it's been a significant number. I can't even count on my hand how many people who have ran the 100 meters. Everybody wants to run the 100. It's the marquee event. It's the thing that we see all the time, right? If I could do it again, I would be a jumper personally. But when we think about the 100 meters, everybody wants to run the 100. But only 160 people have ran sub 10. It's not as easy as people think it is. And that's just one event. Now imagine putting hurdles in front of that 100 meters and trying to run over those and still run fast. It's not as easy as people think. So as we are watching the sport, right? I'm talking about the people who have never done track and field. I'm talking about the people who are very critical. I'm not saying you can't have your opinions, you can't have your judgments, you can do all of that. It's a free country. But I'm saying as you are cheering on or as you are supporting and as you are watching, understand that these athletes need a little bit of grace because there's a lot of variables that it takes to run fast, to jump far, to perform well. There's a lot of parts to it. And there's a lot of things that they aren't going to say that they push to the side and they push through because it's their job. And they have to do it. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking to myself, you know how in the workplace, right, you may be able to have a sick day, right? You may be able to say, you know what? Or maybe you get a couple sick days throughout the year and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? On January 3rd, I have 8 sick days. That's going to be one of my sick days. But in the athletic realm, especially in an individual sport like track and field, where every performance matters, you don't have sick days. You can't really take time off like that, right? So as we are continuing to watch the sport before you place judgment on how an athlete is doing and what is going on in their mind frame and what we can see on paper, just ask yourself, what else is going on behind the scenes that I may not understand? And perhaps I need to give this person some grace, because it's not as easy as people make it seem to perform well at an elite level. Just because they make it look easy doesn't mean that it is.